Hello to everyone, and welcome to this AxisVoice this Thursday. My name is Christian Pfeffli. I'm the moderator already for 2 years for AxisVoice. And today we have a really exciting presentation in front of us. It's Axis solution for perimeter protection, which is presented by Wilfried Rakow from Axis Communications. If you have any questions during the presentations, please write them down in the question box and we will answer them in the end of the presentation. Wilfried, are you ready to take over?
Yes, Christian, thank you very much for the introduction. And thank you everybody for attending this introduction into perimeter protection. And as you might understand, that is for us a very important step to look further beyond our cameras and work closer together with partners to present more complete solutions to our customers. So when we talk about perimeter protection, the very first question would be, why would you care about it? And the very simple answer is because the opportunity is huge. There are many assets that need protection for various reasons. And I've looked up data from the US, how many sites we believe are of national importance. And you see, in the US there are thousands of sites that are of national importance that would deploy perimeter protection, and on top of that, there are of course many other sites that would deploy a similar solution. So the opportunity is huge, and of course it is also a very good match to our product offering. So we believe that we have a very competitive offer to address all the requirements in both solutions. When you talk to potential customers about perimeter protection, one of the key questions is about the risk level we see, because depending on the risk, we should deploy a system that is matching that many customers will never experience any intrusion. Like when you are a chemical plant, it's very unlikely that somebody is doing an intrusion, and there might be years where nothing really happens. But there might be a risk if something happens, it could have devastating consequences for the company. And maybe the operation is stopped and we would lose millions, or there might be a terrorist attack, or maybe somebody steals something very essential, especially for the production. So the consequences are often much more severe than the intrusion itself, and hence perimeter protection plays an important role. But you always have to remember that the risk level, of course, controls how much money the customer will have available for the perimeter protection. And sometimes it is, of course, the case that even when there is a risk and the customer understands that there might be problems, that doesn't automatically lead to a situation where the customer will deploy a perimeter protection solution. Sometimes we need a friendly reminder that things can happen. And here's an example from last year where a couple of activists went into the London Heathrow area because we have been unhappy about the extension of the airport, and just a couple of guys, about a dozen, and that led to a situation that 20 flights have to be cancelled and the airport lost millions of pounds. And that of course reminds the airport that perimeter protection is important, because here this activity was basically detected by accident by a system that was installed to detect objects on the runway after the Concorde crash. So we had a system that was not supposed to work as perimeter protection, but that was detecting the intruders. And luckily for the airport, we only got away with 21 flights cancelled. It could have had a much more severe effect on the airport. So that brings me to the challenges that customers have when looking into perimeter protection. Of course, everybody focuses on the detection of intruders, and we come back to that later. But it is equally important to very quickly verify the events, because it makes a big difference if it is a real alarm or a false alarm, and if it is an intruder, the difference between maybe a single person or a group of people or a vehicle crashing through the fence, that really makes a huge difference how the customer should act on intrusions. And it is also very important to discuss with the customers how information is forwarded to the right person that is taking action. Because it doesn't really help only to detect the intrusion if you don't have the methods and means to act swiftly. So those questions have to be addressed. And then we come to the point that is of utmost importance when looking into the perimeter protection. There are a number of false alarms that will happen, and there's no technical system, and then obviously also no human system that is without false alarms. So any system will generate false alarms no matter what. And there are, of course, false negatives. Those are missed intruders. And we believe with our thermal cameras, there's a very little risk that we will ever miss an intruder on the distances we tell. But there should be much more focus on false positives. And those are events generated when there's no intruder present. Because when you look at the overall cost of a system, many people focus on the price of the cameras and the software and the servers. But every false alarm will generate a certain cost, because you have to investigate it, and the quicker you can investigate false alarms and the lower the number of false alarms from the beginning, the lower the cost will be for the complete system. So, and when deciding on a system, the focus should rather be on the most stable, most reliable system to avoid false alarms than going for the cheapest system possible. So what is the Axis solution for perimeter protection? When we started this project, we looked into the use case and defined as much as possible what the challenges would be. And we see perimeter protection as an ideal solution for fenced areas, often industrial sites or sites from critical infrastructure that need some kind of intrusion detection. And our firm belief is that the combination of thermal cameras combined with video analytics will be the best solution by providing reliable detection of intruders with a minimal number of false alarms. That is really the key message of our perimeter protection solution. And then, of course, we see the need to add on other components like PTZ cameras for event verification and other components for deterrence like horn speakers, sirens, lights. And of course, the VMS is playing a central role because that's the place where everything comes together, where the events are shown, and the situational awareness is guaranteed, and where the customer can do all the handling of the alarms. One of the questions we often get is why we are focusing on thermal cameras. And of course, you can do perimeter protection also with standard cameras. But we believe that thermal cameras are the most reliable source that can be used in this use case, because they provide the right information for video analytics, and with thermal cameras you have a much lower risk for false alarms. You don't need any extra illumination, and And since the thermal cameras are running on rather low resolution, you can also have the video analytics embedded on the cameras. So that is a very good advantage to have a very reliable source of information to start with. And then just a brief reminder that we have put a lot of effort lately into improving our thermal cameras. With the 1941 and 42, we have introduced much better sensors with higher sensitivity. We have added more processing power that give us the option to have features like image stabilization and to get a better image in total. The next slide shows you an example how much we have improved the image quality from one generation to the next one. And you see that the 1941, 1942 are generating much better image quality. And that, of course, helps later the video analytics to provide much more reliable results so that the number of false alarms is reduced. And we combined the thermal cameras with video analytics, the Axis Perimeter Defender. And the focus in our attempts is to work on a robust and reliable video analytics. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have a low number of false alarms. The software is certified by ILITS, that's an UK certification body, so that we know that the software meets the specifications. A very nice add-on to the software that it comes with an installation design tool. So it makes it very, very easy for you as a system integrator, as an installer, to design the system up front, to make the right choices, to know the right distances, and to generate builds of material right from the start. So that gives also a tool into your hands to make sure that you can provide a professional job. And best of all, the software is very easy to install and to configure. Often it is the case with other softwares that it takes forever to do the configuration and the fine-tuning. But with this software, it is very easy to go through all the steps. It is very hard to make mistakes. And one of the best things is that you don't need any additional help. You can do the configuration all by yourself. It's very, very simple setup. You set up the cameras, you walk the fence, so basically the area that the camera can see. The software will do a recording of your walk, and since you provide the information how tall you are, the software will automatically create an internal map of the surrounding to know the correct distances, so it will be configured automatically to the correct sizes, so that the video analytics runs perfectly later on. So now I want to move forward to some best practices, some things that you should remember when you go into an installation of perimeter protection. For me as a technical guy, I think perimeter protection is one of the easier installations because it's often just a few things you have to remember that are crucial for success, and having the right selection of cameras and software will make your life very easy, and you can be confident to deliver a good solution. But before you start, and I know very well by myself that it's so easy to jump into questions about details too quickly. It is very important, of course, to define the goal of a project. Take some time to discuss with the customer what is his risk level, and check with him what is the available budget, because it will require the right selection of components to provide the good protection. And one of the things that is very important is to define the workflow when intrusion is detected. Who will receive alarms? Who should be informed? how action should be taken. So this is very important to make the right selection. And then a word of advice is you shouldn't trust any upfront information that somebody is giving you. It's crucial to take a site survey because you would like to document the layout of a site. You want to talk to people on site, how the things are really done, how people work, because there's always that human factors. Security managers might have procedures and they know their site, but when people are on site, they have probably a different view. It's not like on a construction site that everybody left at a certain time and comes back in the morning. Sometimes when it is required, we will work through the night. There might be shortcuts people are taking regularly. So all this is important and can only be detected when walking the fence. And it's also important to look into seasonal effects. That means you will have vegetation, and when you come to a site in the winter, it all looks nice and peachy and easy to set up. And when you come in late spring, suddenly everything is green and the view of the cameras is blocked, or you can't see the fence anymore, and the system will work differently in different situations. So it's really important to take the time, walk the fence, and document everything. And on top of that, of course, to document the existing infrastructure, what's already there in terms of electricity, communication, what has to be done. And before we jump into any installations, a very, very important factor, of course, is to discuss with the customer deterrence, because all that matters is to make sure that an intruder has as little incentive as possible to make an intrusion, because it's not important to find the person who jumped the fence. It's more important to prevent the person from the beginning, or when he did an intrusion, to think twice and maybe to stop the attempt. Think about the train depot where a graffiti sprayer is maybe interested in a new train, and it maybe takes 4 or 5 minutes to paint the whole train. But if you can tell guys that you will observe them, and when we did the intrusion, that you notify them that they are observed, and it will have consequences. That will be the difference between win and lose the game. So setting up fences, setting up signs, and consider loudspeakers, sirens, or lights in the whole solution is very, very important. When you gathered all the information, of course, you would start with a map and do the site planning. And there's a very nice tool provided as part of a package that will give you guidance through how you select the products, what are the minimum distances and the maximum distance. And of course, you should aim for a complete coverage so that the whole perimeter is secured on all sides. And please remember that there is a blind spot. That means the camera cannot see directly from the pole where it is mounted. There is a distance between the pole and the minimum distance. And you should also remember when you do the planning that the software cannot really detect an intruder who is moving towards the camera. It's only possible to detect intruders that come from left to right or from right to left. So when you do the coverage planning, it's important that you remember that. So that it shouldn't only look nice on paper in a plan, but it should also be very functional. And when it comes to the camera placement, it is rather simple. You can use the 1941, for instance, with a 19mm lens to cover a distance of about 100 meters. And then the camera should be mounted about 6 meters high. That is about the optimal height because it shouldn't be too low. When it is too low, it is easy to reach the cameras when you just climb the roof of a van. It might be too easy to reach the cameras to tamper with. So it's suggested to go higher than that. So 6 meters is nice. Going even higher is not really recommended because first of all, it will cost you much more money, and then you also have you will experience higher vibrations when you go too high. Another advice is to have the poles a little bit inside of a perimeter, just more for practical purposes, so that the cameras are not easily reachable from the outside. They will be on your property, so a little bit inside is a good advice. And of course, it is very, very important to use solid poles when you mount cameras to avoid any vibrations. It pays off in the long run. There's no point to use expensive cameras and very good software and then save some money on the poles. In the next slide, you see the detection limits for the cameras for different lens options, all given for the mounting at 6 meters high. And you see also that the distance between poles is actually the difference between the maximum distance and the minimum distance. So when you take, for instance, the 19mm lens that can detect intrusion from 24 to 94 meters, you have to put poles in a distance between 70 meters each to have 100% coverage. And you should also remember the corridor format doesn't really affect the maximum detection limit, and also not the minimum distance, because the camera needs a certain perspective to it cannot look directly down to make a good intrusion detection. So it needs some distance. You have to be a little bit away from the camera so that the software works perfectly. And also on a maximum distance, it doesn't really help to add cameras with higher resolution. Higher resolution cameras give you just a wider angle of view, but not a longer distance. So our advice for especially industrial sites, here in Europe, we don't have so long perimeters. It's to focus on the 19mm and the 35. You get the most value for money, and with those two camera models, you can target most of the installations. When you really have longer distances, of course, the 60mm is an option. This slide shows you the software in essence. 3 steps you have to go through. It all starts with a calibration. And here in the left picture, you see a person walking along the fence. And that is the result of what the software did after the recording. So it shows you yourself walking, and you can use this recorded material to determine if calibration was successful or not. Once the system is calibrated, you add your borderline, your virtual fence, or your zones that should be protected. And then the final steps would be to verify the system that it works. That, of course, is very important. You should not only trust the system that tells you it's all calibrated. You should also take some time to verify the system at different distances, so if you can make sure that the intrusion works perfectly. When you look at the software, you will find 2 main scenarios that are usable for intrusion detection. The left one is called the zone crossing. It's a cross-line type of intrusion detection. So you have, in this image, you see 2 zones, the left one and the right one, and you see the error. And when a person is moving from the left to the right zone, you get an alarm. And only when a person moves from the left to the right zone. And that is, of course, perfect for perimeter protection. So you can have people in the right area. Maybe people are working there, or we are on a smoking break. So we would not generate an alarm. Only intruders would an alarm. But the downside of this scenario is that it only works when the intruder is visible at all times. So if there is a risk that the intruder disappears from the image because he can hide behind objects or for other reasons, or maybe the fence is too big or is a solid wall, you cannot use this scenario. In that case, you would use the right-hand scenario that is called intrusion, and that is a standard motion detection scenario. So it gives you an alarm whenever an intruder gets into the zone. But that also means that you get an alarm every time a person is there, also persons that maybe are supposed to be in that zone. So it's a little bit a balanced game, what scenario works best in one particular scenario. And then, of course, it is very important that you can use our software in the video management software of your choice. There's a very nice integration with both Milestone and Genetec, and so you can get the video overlay, the bounding boxes in the live view and in the recorded video. And on events, of course, you should configure the software that the PTZ cameras go to a certain preset, that you have a pop-up video that shows you the intrusion instantly, that it starts the deterrence by playing audio from the horn speaker, and also that you send notifications to the security personnel. All that should be more or less automated. And when talking about perimeter protection, there's one thing that you shouldn't forget after all that. There's, of course, the nice software that is doing the intrusion detection, but do not forget to set up the tampering alarm, because still the thermal cameras are exposed to a potential intruder. It is not too difficult to block the view of the cameras. You can either have something sprayed on the camera, or you can have maybe a very simple balloon that's floating in front of the camera. So don't forget about the simple things like the tampering alarm. And all of this, I would like to conclude, when everything is said and done, please make sure that you come back later to the site and follow up, because video analytics works differently in different weather conditions. Follow up on false alarms. Maybe there's one camera that is generating more false alarms than the others. It's good to investigate that. Maybe the configuration should be adjusted, or maybe there are other things that can be improved. So it's very important that the initial protection that has been provided by you is still intact, by having also a look at the physical security, so there is no damages to the fence, and that all the system is still up and running. So that was everything for me. I would like to thank you for your attention, and then I hope that you will have lots of successful perimeter protection installations. Thank you again, and then let's have a look at some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Wilfried. There are quite a number of questions. Let's see. We have Kenneth, who is asking about is there a certification for fences regarding how long time it takes to penetrate different fence models?
I didn't get the question completely. There's like a certification for the time.
Is there a certification for fences regarding how long time it takes to penetrate different fence models?
No, I don't know that. What I know, there's a standard how fences should be constructed. So there's, yeah, actually, I think it's even a European standard that says how fences should look like, how they should be built, how high they should be, and that's of course mainly in respect to safety. so that not so much in terms of intrusion prevention, but yeah, there's a standard, there's something like a certificate, but I have to look up more information about that.
Okay, you will answer then directly to Kenneth. You will get his contact details. So
yeah.
Another one from Christian is, hello, in the placement tool when using thermal camera, they are no longer the long range checkbox. Why?
The answer is very simple, because the long range is something where you will have intrusion detection, but it's not as reliable as with a standard distance. So we have decided to remove it to avoid confusion. It is still available as as a hidden function, so you can bring it back again if you want to. Again, I can send you details about that later on.
Okay. Then a question for me, where can we download this to share with the team? Well, it will be available both with a link to the presentation and also downloadable from YouTube within 24 hours. Okay. Another question, so let me know if I'm correct. The maximum distance for this method is the maximum identification distance of the camera, depending on the lens and setup.
Yes, I mean what you see already in the design tool, you select your camera model, including the lens. You set the mounting height, or how high your pole is, and the software will automatically give you the maximum detection limit, and also, of course, the minimum detection limit. So, and that is the area where intrusion is reliable. I wouldn't say intrusion detection is reliable. I wouldn't say guaranteed, because there's never 100% guarantee, but it is a very, very high chance that you detect any intruder, any person, any vehicle in that distance.
Okay. Another question, what is the efficiency of the analytics function at the maximum distance?
I mean, what's the guaranteed level? I don't know. I mean, there's, like I said, it's close to 100%, but it will never be 100% that anybody can guarantee intrusion in all circumstances, because of course it depends a lot on the actual site. But when you look yourself at the camera images and the distances that we guarantee, you will see there's only a theoretical chance that intruders get through undetected.
All right. Another question from Johnny. How many pixels per meter is recommended for reliable detection?
Yeah, that's those are we are not really providing information about the pixels, because it's very misleading. You shouldn't look into the camera resolution and determine the distance. Take the distances that are provided in this presentation, or the distances provided in the design tool, and you have the right information for each camera model, because the video analytics uses one certain resolution, and that is not obviously not always a match of the camera resolution.
Okay, another one here. I am interested in perimeter protection. If a small area, say a terrace of an apartment that has been burgled often, is there a small version of heat sensor cameras suitable for domestic projects?
Didn't really understand. Let me see if I can.
So basically, perimeter protection for balcony or terrace.
Exactly. I mean, the solution presented here is not suitable for that use case. We really only looked into the use case of a fenced area on longer distances. When you have an area that is very narrow, like a balcony or something, I'm pretty sure that like a video motion detection is much more suitable for that use case. So I would recommend to look into video motion detection, and on a short distance, I think it's also much more cost efficient to use like a fixed dome camera with inbuilt infrared light, something similar.
Okay, for high security premises, there can be set a third area which will trigger a pre-alarm state. It's a question. For example, a zone a little more far from the fence.
Yes, I mean, that is, I didn't mention it, but once you have configured the cameras, you can add multiple scenarios to the video analytics. So you can have many scenes or many zones that generate different alarms. So you can have an intrusion alarm that really has the virtual line close to the fence, but you can also have other areas outside the fence that will trigger alarms. So it's no problem to add multiple zones and multiple configurations to the same camera. So the video analytics will analyze the video only one, and then it will apply different scenarios. So no problem at all.
Okay, another one. Would it be possible to know which islet scenarios it has passed and whether it is primary or secondary?
I don't know the details right now, but we can provide you that information later on.
Yeah. Where do you install the software, server or camera?
The software is edge-based, so the video analytics runs on the cameras. But for configuration and verification, you use PC software that also does the installation of the video analytics to the camera itself. So it's basically a PC that you use for configuration and setup, and after that, it's all running on the camera.
Okay, Pedro is asking about very important for us actions. I guess that interaction with ACS is 100% clear, and therefore we can run different events, right?
Yes, you can of course integrate Perimeter Defender with Axis Camera Station and get all the events into the software. I haven't mentioned ACS integration because it's not on the same level as Milestone and Genetec. In Genetec and Milestone, you have also the image overlay, the bounding boxes. You can follow the intruder in both live view and recording. That is a function you will not have in Axis Camera Station right now.
Okay. And there is a request from Kenneth, who is asking us to mention that Axis is supported by spotter RF compact surveillance radars and active tracking PTCs. Okay, now I have done that as well. And a lot of questions about islets, but I think you can answer them directly to each and everyone.
Yes.
And so far we haven't received any other questions. So maybe we wrap up the whole thing today. And thank you, Wilfried, for an excellent presentation. I think the audience was very pleased with what they heard. And see you again, all of you, hopefully next Thursday. Enjoy your day and have a nice weekend. And bye-bye from us at Axis.
Thank you very much for all the attention. Thank you and bye-bye.